All right, so today, by the way, I haven't talked to anybody in a while. I haven't been on YouTube in, I don't know, a couple weeks or whatever. I ain't had nothing to say. If you ain't got anything to say, just be quiet. That's what Granddad always told me. So today I got something kind of interesting though. Been experimenting a little bit with a rifle, and I bought some bullets several years ago, and they weren't necessarily the bullets I wanted, but they were available and they were absolutely dirt cheap. You won't do that now. You go to the store now and a box of bullets cost you, you know, your firstborn or something. But anyway, so I had a load worked up for this rifle using 40 grains of powder and a 200 grain bullet. And it always shot really well. And like I said, I bought these other bullets knowing that they probably would not shoot the greatest through this rifle, but they would do. So anyway, so these other bullets are 250 grain bullets, and I think if you remember in another video, I said, you know, don't ever go off of what it says on the box. Okay, this is a wonderful and great example of that. So I had this rifle. It's zeroed at 100 with the 200 grain bullets. So conventional wisdom would say, okay, you know, I'm going with a heavier bullet with less powder. By more than 10% actually. I mean, I really cut this load back because of the bullet weight. You have to cut your, you actually use less powder with a bigger bullet. It's the opposite of what you would think. It has to do with pressures and all that. And you never want to go off script when you're reloading. And this is an off script gun, but just because of Indiana's gun laws are for deer are weird. So they come out, some guys got crafty and they come out with, you know, ones that were legal. I don't think the state's seen that coming, but anyway. So I, 200 grain bullet, 40 grains of powder. Supposed to be going 2,400 feet a second. I've never chronographed it. I've always just hunted in the woods with this gun. I rarely ever shoot past 70 yards with it. But I do practice with it at 200 because there are some situations where I've got to hiccup some awful day. There are situations where I may need that. So I do like to know where it's at that distance. It's actually about 4 inches low at 200. And it's got plenty of knockdown and it's plenty accurate at that distance. It's just that's the rifle I like to hunt the woods with. So anyway, 200 grain bullet, 40 grains of powder, 2,400 feet a second, supposedly. The load I worked up was 34 grains of powder with a 250 grain bullet. Okay, shows absolutely no signs of overpressuring at all. It doesn't even really form the case up real good to the chamber. So I know I'm not running overpressure. I know I'm not, because if it was overly pressured, it would smash that case out exactly the shape of that chamber, and it's not doing that. So anyway, advertising is one thing. What it does to a gun, something totally different. Okay, so this is where we get in trouble when we're in a big hurry and we run out to hunt and we don't have the ammo that we zeroed in with, and so we just grab some ammo. And you know, it's a heavier bullet, it's going to shoot lower. It may not be the case, and I'll show you here. Get my pen out. So this is, you may have to zoom in, but this is a group I made, and I slung one out. I knew I slung this in high and right, but the other two right here, I mean, they're right together. There's 2 bullet holes right there. That's where I was aiming. Okay, I was aiming at the bottom of that white line. That's with the 40 grains of powder with a 200 grain bullet. So my last 2 shots, I mean, they cut each other. So I know that I slung this one out. These are the holes, 1, 2, 3, which they don't shoot as good. But these were my first shots. I hadn't settled in yet. But anyway, no change in zero on the rifle scope, okay? With a heavier bullet and less powder, shot almost exactly 6 inches higher than the others. Okay, heavier bullet, going slower, shot higher. Okay, I'd have to say it has something to do with barrel harmonics and ballistic coefficients and all that stuff that I know enough about it, but I'm not an expert on it by any means. So, here, I'll bring this a little closer. I could have done that to begin with. So you see this, there's 2 holes there, 1 hole there. I mean, that's 0 at 100 yards because I was aiming right there. I had my horizontal crosshair, and I like to do that because when you're breathing, you can see that little white gap come into your crosshair, and then you can use your vertical crosshair inside of this white line going up, and that way you get a better point of aim. You're not just aiming to hit something, you're aiming to hit something particular. So, yeah. So same 0, same everything. Different bullets, 6 inches of difference. Okay? That is a miss 3 times in the woods. If I'm trying to pick a deer's head off at 50 yards, okay, I'd say at 50 yards, it will probably be like right in here. It'll probably be about half the distance. But see, I don't know now. I got to go back to the drawing board on this load. So I'll just enter that into the notes on that rifle. And when I pick that rifle up, I'm going to read, hey, you know, if I use this bullet, then I need to read 0. Okay? But, so it is what it is. So not a totally unacceptable group, but like I said before, I knew this bullet was not designed for that rifle. It's not designed for that velocity. It's meant to be driven a lot faster than what I'm driving it. So that's just how it goes. And if you go down to 50 yards, that's still headshots all day on deer. All day. So that's another group I shot. Slung one out there. 3-shot group. So that's a different rifle though. So yeah, what's good for one is not good for the next. Maybe. You know, I've got one rifle that, you know, you can go from 110 grain to 150 grain, and there ain't a half-inch difference in it at 100 yards. So if you zero for one ammunition, it is not a blanket 0. It's a starting point for other things, but if you change ammo, you need to go back and rethink that. So I like having problems like this. It gives me something to solve. And I'd say this will be solved with a chronograph, because if in fact that 250 grain bullet is going faster, it has the 40 grain bullet, or the 200 grain bullet has way bad coefficient, but it shoots really well for whatever reason. It's like throwing a brick through the air. I don't understand it, but it throws the brick in the same spot. So that's what I use. But anyway, I would say it would have something to do with the fact that the 250 grain bullet is a lot sleeker, a lot higher ballistic number on it. So yeah, so something different. Don't ever trust what you think you know, because you're always going to get surprised. That's about all I got for today. Good day. Always like having problems because I learned something. Gives me something to work out, and gives me something else to dive into. You know, why would a heavier bullet fly higher than a light bullet at 100? You know, that's where I'm getting at. And the problem may be solved at 50 yards. I didn't bring enough shells with me, but if I get it 50 yards and it's way low, then I know my bullet's just arcing. And that may be the problem. I don't know. But anyway, pretty solid day. Just out here enjoying the blue skies. Halfway warmed up, so we're doing good. Y'all be blessed. Have a good day. And it's coming on springtime, so go get you some fishing poles. Take your kids fishing and make them enjoy something, or let them enjoy something. You don't have to make them enjoy it. You take a kid fishing, it's just one of the greatest times ever. As an adult, if you got little kids, please don't try to catch fish yourself. You're just going to get aggravated at your kids because they're making noise and all that. If you take a kid fishing, dedicate your time to taking that kid fishing and let them do it. If they get bored and they want to throw rocks, help them throw rocks. It ain't going to kill you. But have a good time. Be blessed. Get out, enjoy the good open air.